Sheena Ringo, we are continuing our listen through to the legend of Japanese music's many extremely popular songs with millions of views. The reason we're doing this, because these songs spread back over a career that has been not just years old, but decades old. The reason we're doing this, just to give a quick recap for anyone who hasn't watched the previous videos, is because of the fact that obviously having been in Japan so long, I've heard so much about her. I've heard little clips of like her collaboration songs. I've even reacted to some of her collaborations previously. I've seen little clips of her live performances, stuff with Tokyo Jihen. Her reputation obviously precedes her. Yeah, every time I'm working with Japanese musicians, the name Sheena Ringo comes up as an inspiration for so many people so often. And, you know, this is therefore an artist who it's kind of probably not a good thing to have a blind spot over. And it is true that I just kind of realized I don't really know many of the singles that made her famous. And so that's what we're here doing. We're checking out some of the singles. Previously, we checked out Gips, which I really like. You could definitely feel it was like over 20 years old in some of the production and the music video aesthetics. But the truth is, it's a song that definitely holds up today. Great pop rock song with good emotional variation, lots of intensity, but also a really accessible melody that you can sing along to. Loved that one. Then we went with her most popular song according to YouTube. That I gotta be honest, this song much more had a lot of the instrumental things that we now think of as being very Sheena Ringo-esque. A sort of a jazzy, very improvisational sounding kind of musical basis to the song, which was really exciting and really enjoyable. And I could also see why it was a big hit. It was super catchy. But I gotta be honest, this one didn't appeal to me as much. It was kind of like okay, I get why it's popular, but it didn't really excite me as much just because I felt that the vocals were seriously overproduced. And it felt like for someone who's so famous for having this amazingly expressive voice, it felt like her voice was really curtailed in this one. I am interested to check out the live version. I'm not gonna do that too soon because I feel like I'm maybe like just clickbaiting if I do the same song twice in quick succession. However, I am really interested to this video, actually my reaction to this hasn't gone live at the time that I'm recording this, so it's all a bit confusing, but I'll wait to see what feedback I get on that reaction, and I might check out the live one as well. But yeah, that one, catchy, I got it, but I thought, okay, maybe I need to go for something which is a little bit lower on the popularity list this time. So I scrolled down, and I found this song. And this is the one we're diving in with today. This song is called Ryuko, and it's from 2009, which also really appealed to me because obviously we heard one song from 2000 and then one song which is a lot more recent. I think it was 2015, that last one. So this one, 2009, somewhere in the middle, helping us get a bit of an idea for the eras. Some folks have asked in the comments, and I really appreciate this. They've asked, well, you know, Howard, you can't really get a full idea from the artist just from going through her singles. Totally agree. The only reason why I'm doing that right now is, as I say, because most of what I'd heard from her previously had maybe been the slightly more oddball stuff that my friends who are fans of Sheena Ringo had played to me. So here I'm trying to get a better idea for the mainstream stuff. However, after I've maybe done some singles and started to get an idea for more of the eras of her music, I am thinking that at some point, as I often do with a lot of artists, I might go back and find an album to do a full track by track listen through to, maybe her debut album or something like that. So that's something I'm definitely considering as well. And also one other comment I want to respond to is someone left me kind of a very harsh comment saying, actually, it's not Sheena Ringo, it's Ringo Sheena. Yeah, by the way, I can say I'm not Japanese, but I tell you what, after you've been in Japan for like over a decade and you've been working with Japanese music for a couple of decades, believe me, I do know the thing about the names, but also when you write it in Japanese, it's one way round. Even when she has her name written in Romanized characters on her CDs, it's the other way around. So it's fine both ways. Ringo Sheena, Sheena Ringo, both are fine. Just depends on context. I'm speaking to English speaking folks for the majority of the audience, so I say it that way. However, hello to my Japanese friends who are watching in the subtitles. Just so you know, I am aware that it's Ringo Sheena that way, so apologies, either way is fine. Anyway, let's jump in. This is oh sorry, I gotta remember the song name again. This is not a Japanese word I really have much cause to use. The word is Ryuko, which is Vogue, or it's like fashion. Anyway, let's jump in, give it a listen. Liking the funky feeling straight away. Okay, I don't know who this guy is. He's funky though. Yeah, you can feel so much feeling in this already. I love how we kind of got electric piano, wah-wah guitar and vocals. Those three layers are so cool. There comes that kind of instrumentation again that's so signature for Shiina Ringo these days. I love the way that it's almost got this funky jam feel, but at the same time we've got a nice build up in the chorus. I love the way that built up and fed into the song over there. Some nice layering of it. The build up in this song is really nice. Oh, that is such a satisfying. That self-harmony. Oh man, this guy is good as well, eh? He's great at just adding that MC aspect to it. Just adding a little bit of a chant, a little bit of a nice bouncy vocal refrain. Now we're back on track. That is, I mean, I feel pretty confident saying that of the three, that's my favourite. And you know what? The funny thing is that I went for a song that chronologically was in the middle because I kind of wanted to hopefully get the best of both the sides. You know, kind of like the more, like I say, tangible, live, improvised feeling musicianship of the most recent songs, combined with the more structured kind of like pop rock-esque value that original song had back from 2000 and that kind of earlier era seemed to be indicative of. And you know what, this, I know I'm just sort of like looking at three songs from a vast career, but this song really did feel like it landed in the middle of both of them, in that here we got a song that definitely is just alive with tonality, with so much timbre from all the instrumentation that's going on there. Even down to, I mean, again, we have like the guest vocalist guy. I don't, it's another guy in a hat. I have no idea who he is. I don't know if he's related to Tokyo Jian or something. I mean, she swims in such a wide pool of musicians and she's got so many collaborators. And it's funny because she's got so many collaborators, but she hasn't often collaborated with it almost feels like she swims in a very separate circle from a lot of the musicians and sessioners and people who I'm familiar with. I'm sure there's some crossover, but it's like a lot of the people who she works with, people will mention the names and go, yeah, I'm not sure if I've heard them on any other projects. So, she's definitely in a certain crowd where she's, I mean, apart from being a popular name nationwide, and kind of industry wide perhaps, she's definitely swimming in this particular crowd of really talented musicians. And so it's sometimes maybe you guys know who these extra people are, but I don't know. However, I will say this guy, I thought he was really good in this. I thought he was really good at sort of doing a little bit of just kind of nice, like emceeing at the beginning, building up the energy, adding something a little bit funky, being the hype that begins the song. Then Sheena comes in with her usual gravitas and class, and her voice kind of sounds nice and jazzy on this again. We've got that personality back, but she's got a little bit more confidence than in that sort of earlier work from in 2000, and yet we can hear her voice more clearly and singing with a little bit more natural kind of pizzazz in this song than in the more popular recent number. I think this is just a really nice balance between those things. I also thought that this was particularly impressive in that the song is one of those songs that maybe appeals to me personally, and that it definitely takes us from the beginning and builds us up to the crescendo of the ending. It's a song where everything escalates and elevates. It feels like you're going somewhere rather than just kind of just repeating for the sake of being funky. So it kicks off with this kind of funky aspect, but then things build up. You get a chorus that itself has a kind of a nice sing-alongable quality, and then it builds up. Then we get that bridge where everything steps up again. We get a higher key change. The melody builds up, and then that builds you up to this big powerful note where she sings you into the guitar solo. Then the guitar solo is getting really, really kind of energetic, and then that bursts you into that final chorus where they took the rather brave decision of having a lot of vocal layers. There's some solo artists who don't do that, who don't layer their voice in their songs in the studio, because obviously if you go to perform it live, you can't sing next to yourself. You can't be two people singing at the same time. Obviously the backing vocals in this particular chorus could be covered by backing singers, and she could just sing the top layer. However, I personally appreciated that on the studio version it's her voice twice, because just because that's something you have to do live, you don't have to capitulate to do that on the record. You can have you be all the singers because it's your song. And I like that. You hear this bit, I actually like the layering between her singing both the lines. Her voice works in both the lines. That's perfect. That's so nice. That's the way that it should sound. So I'm sure live she probably does that with like a little I can imagine like a gospel quartet or something doing that, or just having some kind of backing vocalist do the main line while she sings the expressive parts over the top. And then the guy comes in with a little bit of more funky delivery at the end. To me, this just really feels like such a perfect example of all the things that we like about her. Her adoration and love for very improvised sounding, honest sounding musicianship, and along with actually having a catchy song. And again, I'm saying this all from the frame of the fact that obviously this is a single. We expect it to be a song where the idea is it's relatively short runtime. It obviously has to build up to have a catchy and accessible quality anyway, but I feel this does it in a way that really does feel like it still keeps all the core qualities that at least I from the outside, and I've heard enough to have a rough idea for her music, but from me, I can say it feels like this stands for the things that I would assume to be the qualities that have made Sheena Ringo so famous, and yet it also feels like a really good single. So I personally just really enjoyed this one. I would definitely come back to this. I would definitely listen to this again. The video was super simple, but worked again. It's one of those videos where it's almost like a Jamiroquai quality. Or maybe I'm just saying that because it's a funky music filmed on a very plain background, but I'm getting a Jamiroquai vibe, sorry. But no, so believe me, much better than that. But I really felt like this. And again, the instrumentals, I've kind of briefly spoken about that in terms of adjectives, but it must just be said that the layers that you hear there, when you've got that electric piano on one side, giving that really kind of nice soulful feeling, and then you've got a kind of a bit more gritty wah-wah guitar on the other side, then you've got Sheena's kind of just really enjoyable, raspy style of jazzy singing. It all just for me works fantastically. So yeah, there you go. I personally really enjoyed this. I definitely would come back and, like I said, and listen to it again. And yeah, thank you for everyone who's enjoying this little series. It's really nice to share this with people from, I can see we get people watching from Japan and overseas. So it's great to share this series with both people. And yeah, hopefully we'll be doing more of these. Get in the comments though, give me some feedback, tell me what you think, and until I hopefully see you very soon for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.